1970, we sure we did the forefront. Knowledge for selfish, for sure we did do the work. Auditorium to basement of all faculty of law. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. Work hard and we shine, commitment, dedication. Neurosurgery, comedy, music, Nollywood. SOTK, Dr. Call, MC Casino. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. Great Uniben, great Uniben, great Uniben, great Uniben.
Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode of the Uniben Alumni Series. This is a show where we discuss with alumni of the great University of Benin, men and women that have gone through the four walls of one of the greatest tertiary institutions in West Africa, the University of Benin. I'm your host, Kevin Omokao, and on today's episode, I have a politician and a lawyer with us today. He holds a Bachelor of Law degree from the University of Benin, from our own Faculty of Law. And he is the national chairman of Democratic Leadership Alliance, the DLA. He is Samuel Memeh Esquire. Thank you very much, Barrister, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Omokaro. I'm very happy and delighted to be here.
Good to have you here. I've been wanting to have this conversation with you, and I do follow your activities. I see that you're quite busy this period, and I want to appreciate you for creating time to be part of this show. Um, let's
Pleasure.
get into it. You constantly pride yourself as the chairman of one of the few ideologically driven political parties in Nigeria. Your
Mm.
party was recently registered by INEC earlier in the year. Uh, I want to know why do you think yours is different? Your party I'm talking about now, the DLA, is different from other political parties. And when you talk about ideology, what's the ideology of the DLA?
Okay, well, thank you very much for having me, and it's my pleasure to the Uniben alumni community. I want to salute your courage and what you are doing, on this platform for giving voice to some of us who have had opportunity of, going through the University of Benin. When you talk about ideology, what simply ideology means belief, a belief system, what a system ought to be, and what the system believes in, and the strategic approach to really implement the belief system. And that is what ideology simply means in what it is. So, but talking about the DLA, the Democratic Leadership Alliance, um, is just one of the that is the only political party that met the requirement of law, and was registered. It was registered on the 5th of February, 2026. A screening that was done, and a cumulative of all the applications that INEC received, up to 171 from 2019 and up to 2026. We are happy that we are registered, and it is a product of hard work. It's a product of dedication that we have always known for over the years. Um, what we decided to set up was there's to set up a system that resonates the idea that Nigerians have been clamoring for. Over the years, we've had this conversation around, political party in Nigeria. Political parties in Nigerians have no ideology. They don't have a belief system. Most time they serve as um, a vehicle for people who want to achieve their political aspiration, and people can just jump in, jump out, and it goes on, in that direction. And that is why we came together as very young people and some other advanced one. Interestingly, 98% of the founding members of the DLA are less than 30 years of age. As at the time we registered the party, I was the oldest person, at the time we registered the political party. Simply put, we tend to create a community, within the community of Nigeria, where it tends to build a culture of political movement that trains young people, that trains their members, empower their members, champion leadership advocacy. Are you there? Champion
Yeah, yeah.
leadership advocacy for Nigeria, speak for the voiceless. We are also very much concerned about this security situation in this country. We have been able to profile solution, implementable solution that can serve as a major solution to the crisis that we face today in Nigeria. Um, Now, in all of these things, both the justice reform, agricultural sector, the what distinguishes the DLA from other political parties is the deliberate intention to achieve the primary objective of the party, believing in the ideology and believing that without achieving this purpose, without seeing to the implementation, we cannot go anywhere as a people. And we have put up all the parameters, the systematic approach in implementing the ideology of the party, not relenting backward. And again, it is a leadership party for those who want to hold position in the political party, unlike other political party in Nigeria, where people can just jump in and grab position, change whatever plans the party has. Is quite different from the DLA. Just on Wednesday, we had our national convention. Only 10 persons were elected out of about 24 positions at the National Working Committee. This is because those people who would have been in National Working Committee are not yet qualified because they must pass through the leadership training established under the party for them to understand what the party is, the ideology of the party, what the party stands for. And for aspirants who also want to contest over the platform of the party, they are also expected, to participate in the leadership program, established by the party, and for them to understand the manifesto. Because for the first time, we have been able to identify a political movement that, irrespective of who is in charge, who is representing the party at the level of governance, the ideology of the party, the program of the party must be protected so that when people say, I want to vote for the DLA, they know that we are voting for the DLA not because Memeh is on the ballot, not because Mokaro is on the ballot. It is because this is what the DLA will do when they finally come into governance, and this is what they stand
Oh,
for.
okay. If I may come in, I just mentioned that even those that have aspirations that want to that want to contest election under the DLA, they have to pass through this process of orientation and imbibing
Leadership training,
the
yes.
leadership training. Does that, with the time frame we have for the forthcoming election, the 2027 election, does that mean that the DLA might not produce candidates for the election if you are going to have this leadership training, or is it just for a short while they can still run for elective position in 2027?
Okay, yes, absolutely. This is a very important question. What we did is that because of the time frame and the duration of time, the leadership training is for the period of 3 months, and it
Okay.
is an online program twice in a week. So the aspirants are expected to have enrolled for this program before the screening process. We are having our screening on the Friday and Saturday. So most of the aspirants who are contesting under the platform of the party had already enrolled for the program. So that grant them access to be cleared by the party ahead of the clearance.
Okay.
So not necessarily that they must have completed the program
The
as
program.
it's right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that clarification. I want to go back to your remark, your comment when you mentioned that your party, the DLA, was registered by INEC out of 171 applications received within 2019 and 2026. Does that what does that process reveal about the state of party registration and political competition in Nigeria as of today? And also, when we tie that, when we juxtapose, one place that side by side with the comments, the observation by some Nigerians that Nigeria is moving towards a one party state, do you think that is a deliberate attempt by a government in power to hand twist the umpire, that's INEC, to reduce the number of participants, to reduce the number of political parties, so that the one party state, as echoed by some Nigerians, can come into play? Or do you think these other individuals or groups that wanted to establish a political party actually did not meet the requirements?
Well, I do not we actually know some of the criteria set by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Um, I if my party was not registered, I think I would have hold that opinion that the government in power, is not interested in having political parties registered. There are people who generally hold that opinion, and that we're heading towards a one-party state. Now, we are Nigerians, and both people who were in the other political platforms before now are now moving into the ruling party now. We're all Nigerians, and it's a matter of choice of where you want to, associate with. I do not want to, hold that opinion. It is most likely that there are people in governance who believe that if they stipple the powers and the function of political party, other political parties is going to help, the ruling political party. It is possible, but what is challenging here is that many politicians and political parties are not, following to the procedures and the constitution of their political party, and this has brought in a lot of controversies, litigations within the political party we have in Nigeria. Quite a lot of them. If you take a very closer
Okay.
look.
That,
Yes, if you take a closer look at some of the political parties that have crisis in Nigeria and try to investigate the reason behind their crisis, you would see that somehow there appears to be some infraction against their opponent to their own constitution. So, but what led to the registration of the DLA and why other political party or political associations were not registered? Quite a lot of factors. There were so many criteria, logo issue, names, and some associations, were not so meticulous in choosing logos. If you're choosing a logo of a political party that have been registered in Nigeria and be deregistered in Nigeria, then your party will not, scale through. Or if your name or the acronym is similar to a party that has existed in the past, the party will not scale through registration. And they will also look at the intention of the party, the ideology, and the rest of them. All of these things also comes to play when it comes to INEC ratifying. But in most cases, some of them also had option of going to court. Like you see, like the NDC was registered on the same day with the DLA. NDC was registered by court order. The DLA was only party that met the requirement of law and was registered, and the both party was announced on the same day. But so both the one that was registered by virtue of court order and the one that was registered directly by INEC are still regarded as political party registered, by the Independent National Electoral Commission. So it is a function of what the commission is looking out for. And in this part of the world, political parties function for so many reasons. So it is led for the political actors, to put themselves together and ensure that they follow the rules and the regulations. For us, we're very prepared. And I know it would have been very difficult for INEC, not to have registered a DLA, because we went across the country. We have a very formidable association registered in different states, more than two-thirds of the states we have in Nigeria, and we have members, and we have a clear cut ideology and what we intend to do for the country and change the narrative. And in fact, as a matter of fact, we have even set standard, for other political parties that will come into this country in the near future. So all of these strategies and standards we have laid in the course of our registration of political party and the programs we are also doing. Just last year alone, before we became political party, we have 43 of our members that are currently undergoing various programs in Russia. And on the 29th of this month also, we'll be having another set of people that will also be going because our party is focused more on science-based economy, science behind manufacturing and training. These are things that are not so common with the political parties we have in Nigeria. They are more concerned about winning elections. So what we are trying to do even right now, we are training about 10,000 Nigerian youths course across various institutions in Nigeria on AI automation, web development, web design, and so many other programs relating to ICT. And they're all free programs, being organized by the party for members and the general public. So when you begin to have a political culture in this nature, what simply means is that we are trying to encourage Nigerians because right now Nigerians are not even interested in voting, let alone becoming members of political party. So if we have a system where people can begin to have confidence, and that is what we want at this time because the country is
Mm.
going down, and we cannot allow those people who have held us down, to continue to have free opportunity to run the system. We must step in one way or the other, bring in innovation into the system so we can encourage Nigerians to join and be part of a revolution that can change the political landscape of the country.
Oh, thank you so much for that quite broad response. And you actually touched on a couple of issues. One of the questions I wanted to ask was about the spread of your party, because we have heard in some places that it is regional, some said it is national, and you just mentioned that it covers more than 2/3% of the states in Nigeria, which makes it quite national. And I must commend you for that. Also, you touched on the participation of Nigerians in our political process. You just mentioned that now. I I would like us to talk about youth participation. You were Deputy National Youth Leader of the People's Democratic Party before you moved over. You were in charge of student affairs, and you were also quite active during your student days with the National Association of Nigerian Students. And with the current youth participation in election, which, if you look at the statistics, in 2007, we had the participation for election was about 57%, but more recently in 2023, it was 26%. That's a sharp decline in our participation. How is your party, the DLA, how do you plan to engage young Nigerians to participate in our electoral process, in our political process?
In fact, just like I mentioned to you, this is a revolutionary movement for leadership change as far as the DLA is concerned. The national secretary of the DLA is 28 years old. The national financial secretary of the DLA is, I think, 23 years old. All right, and most of the national officers of the party are less than 30 years of age. Like I mentioned, that 98% of the founding members of the party are even still undergraduates, and we've been able to establish very strong base at the various campuses in Nigeria. We're recruiting young leaders and letting them know that it is possible for us to be involved. Most of the Gen Zs, most of the people if you go to our University of Benin right now, if you mention political party, nobody is interested because they're not getting any benefit from whatever that is happening around the political secular political setting. So we want to have a system that we can call our own, and then begin to recruit these young people, make them feel included in the system, in the polity of Nigeria, and that is where you have the numbers really. All these things they are doing about a certain big names and the rest. This kind, if we once we begin to identify ourselves, but one of the challenges we've seen among the young people, one you must not take it away is experience, and we are also having such experience even as a newly registered political party, because sometimes we want to have this to say, oh, the young people we really need to, but Many young people are not well experienced in terms of governance management, party management. But if we are dedicated, if we are determined, we can also learn through the job, So Nigerians, many of us who are in the DLA are learning very fast, and other ones who want to be part of the system. My experience from the student activism has actually given me a lot of knowledge about the operation of the young one. But sometimes there are those other young ones who are very, very resilient. They are so determined about what they want to achieve, and having them, this kind of set of people on board, gives me hope that it is possible for us to have something different in Nigeria. From the time that I was in the PDP up to the time where we formed the Young Democratic Party, where I was the chairman in Edo State. Then I was a law student in the University of Benin, and thereafter I had to step aside because for me the politics was not so much making sense. Leadership crisis here and there, until we now put together and began this journey, to put a platform where we can grow, organically, and build a system. And today, here we are, and we started taking our time to put this thing. It's not quite easy, but we are dedicated, we are focused, we believe it is achievable. Many people who make remarkable impact in their world and in their generation were young people in at that time where they did some of those things. So we believe that if we have the system to get everyone on board as much as those who want to be part of it, then definitely Nigeria will be a better place for all, because the young
Mm.
people who are innovative in nature will drive the economy of this country.
Okay. I want to ask you quite a direct question. You're a leader of one of the opposition parties in the country right now. Do you believe in opposition coalition for 2027?
Well, I have a different view about opposition coalition. I was at the Badr Summit, and I was one of the three national chairmen that spoke during the Badr Summit for coalition for opposition, the DLA, the ADC, and then the PDP. And what we did at that time was we presented our platform being one of the most viable political platform currently in Nigeria, for the coalition to, align themselves, and so that we can feed in candidacy to run the system. But it didn't work out that way because many of them came in with a different mindset. And today you can see that the coalition people have already splitted. The governor, His Excellency Sheikh Makinde, that hosted the event, today is in another political party. P2B was in the ADC, now is in another political party. The PDP is running their own, and the ADC is on their own. But it is good for democracy. I believe that the time for coalition will still come, but not now. It is necessary for the political parties to feed in their candidates first, because it is a requirement of law that political party must win election to sustain their parties. So when they are feeding their candidates, probably in the course of the campaign, then they will begin to have what they call the rainbow coalition, where certain political parties will group themselves and then support a particular aspirant or candidate of a particular political party, and they will set agenda and the modalities to which they can do that. But to say that all political parties should collide and forfeit presenting candidates, that would not be in the interest of the political party that is not sponsoring candidates. It will be for the benefit of the party, that the platform they are going to use. So I made it very clear at that time that it is important for political parties, to nominate, to get their, after the primary elections, then the campaigns will begin, and thereafter the leadership of the opposition political party will now begin to meet, then look at the aspirants and the candidate of these parties and begin to fashion ways on how they can, synergize together to support one particular candidate, particularly at the level of presidency. This is necessary not because just to take power from the ruling government. It is necessary to save our democracy. It is necessary to save our country, because from 2003 down to 2026, a lot of things have happened in this country. Very mysterious activities have happened in this country that has held us back as a people. And imagine having the continuity of this government from 2027 to 2031. In my opinion, I believe that if we allow this government to continue, there might not be Nigeria by 2031. So there is a need for the the opposition political party, to come together in the course of campaigns and see how they can, rescue this country.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's talk about your journey at the University of Benin. You came in
Mm.
initially as a diploma student. That was your first point of contact with the institution. Later on, you came to do your
Mm.
Bachelor of Law degree in same faculty. What motivated you, one, to study law? What was that push? Was there what were those factors that made you to study law, and why the University of Benin?
Yeah, my passion for leadership and for good governance, and at the same time for social justice, led to my choice of course. And before I came into the University of Benin in 2000 in 2002, I did my SSC, and that same year I applied to Enugu State University, and I equally applied to University of Benin. In fact, I applied University of Benin first choice and Enugu State University second choice. In that same year, I was given admission in Enugu State University, and I started my clearance. Then thereafter, after about 3 months, I was admitted into a Bachelor of Science in Mass Communication in Enugu State, but I didn't get law in both university. In fact, Uniben did not even give me admission for the UTME. So I then obtained diploma in law because it has always been law for me. So I gained admission into University of Benin Law. In fact, I remember entering a vehicle from Enugu. I took a vehicle going to Lagos. So the vehicle took me from Enugu, and I stopped at University of Benin main gate, and that was how I started my clearance in University of Benin. And after my 2 years as a diploma in law student, I made a lot of remarkable friends and enduring friends that were still like brothers today. So after the exercise, I started applying to come back to law. Of course, you know how difficult it was then and even till now, to get admission into direct entry into University of Benin. And I was so determined to come to University of Benin. So I started doing direct entry. I did direct entry. Interestingly, it will interest you to know that I did direct entry 7 times in
Oh,
University of
hmm.
Technology. Yes, 7 times. That is seven
You're quite
years.
persistent.
So
Hmm.
yeah, so it was then in 2013. Finally, I now took JAMB, the UTME, and I also took the direct entry. So I did the UTME. I gained admission into 100 level. That same year, I now gained that I did UTME. I gained 100 level. Then that same year, after doing my clearance, after a few months, I now gained admission into the direct entry. So I abandoned the 100 level and I moved into the direct entry. So that was how I commenced my program in University of Benin proper. It was very exciting moment for me because it's a long journey to victory. My passion and my dream has always been to be a lawyer because I believe that I
Hmm.
wanted to expose myself, to the realm of law, to the realm of critical reasoning, and also give the confidence, to achieve my desire, which today I'm grateful to God that some of my dreams have been coming to pass. So after that, after the journey from the University of Benin, then we associated myself with a lot of course, of some people like you. I got to know you at
Hmm.
that time too, and
Yeah.
quite a lot of other great guys from the National Association of Nigerian Students. In fact, we were the one who was always determining what happens in the student union and everything. Very, very interesting time in University of Benin. Then
Yes. That
thereafter,
that
I,
yeah.
I
I want
actually
to.
met
I
my
just
wife.
want to. Oh,
I actually met my
yes.
wife in University
Yes.
of Benin. In fact, I was in 200 level in University of Benin when my wife was in 300 level. So it's the same faculty of law, and we
Yeah.
started dating. So Uniben gave me so many things. Uniben gave
Not
me a
just
very
certificates.
beautiful wife,
They gave
not
me a
just a
wife.
certificate. They gave me a wife, and I found all through my years in University of Benin, I do not think there is any university that is better than University of Benin in the whole world. I must tell you sincerely. So after that, I stayed back a bit because I was doing that of business, politics, and my studies too. Then I took a break. Then thereafter I went to law school. After my law school, again I came back again to University of Benin to do my LLM, my master's in law. So today I already have my master, and I'm also considering going back to University of Benin to do my PhD
For
in
your
law.
page. Oh, that's great to hear. Lastly,
Yeah.
you just mentioned that Unimed gave you a wife as well. You found your wife at the
Mm.
University of Benin. This time around,
Yeah.
what are those values that you took from the institution? You have been there for quite some time. You did 2 years as diploma student and 4 years
Mm.
again. Then you went back for masters. You spent quite some time at the institution. What are those values? What are those attributes the institution taught you?
Wow, quite a lot. Discipline, determination, ruggedity, um, leadership skills, and in fact, everything you can think about for someone who really want to aim higher. Uniben provided such opportunity, for us. And there is something about Uniben too that you must not take away from that institution. Great minds, except you are the kind of person who does not know how to choose your friends. I met people in University of Benin who are so determined and who are so determined to be successful, and you can't take that away because um, challenging time in Uniben eventually turned out to be, a training opportunity for someone like me. I can speak for myself because I went through that
Mm,
university. I walked through the from the beginning of that university to the ending. I know all the corners in the university, but the teaching pattern, the lecturers, the administration, and every other thing, the value, the culture of the university, the environment, everything actually built me to who I am today. And we have remarkable lecturers that we refer to as our fathers in university. Once they identify that you are someone of value, they don't joke with you. They give you attention, they are there to support you, they are there to provide all the necessary assistance, and most importantly, leadership. Leadership in University of Benin, you can't take that away because Uniben was the headquarter of unionism and leadership as far as campus leadership is concerned in Nigeria. And when you pass through that system, and you didn't just pass through that system by hiding, if you're able to project yourself and you're definitely going to have a lot of people that will support you. Uniben people, students, they like to support one another. If you go anywhere here in Abuja, they have alumni here. Once you identify and get close to them and say, "Oh, from University of Benin," immediately you are more like part of their family. And those are some of the things, among many things that Uniben has provided me and equipped me in so many ways. And I do not know if we are still having that kind of environment today. In those days when Uniben students, particularly the leadership of the student union, when they say this is what they want, the management must listen to what they want and they must provide that whatever they want to the student, because whatever the students say they want, if you look at it on the basis of merit, it's very, very important that they need such things. And we were very united in approach. When Uniben students said they are marching to the main gate, when they say they are moving towards the direction, and that is the direction they are going to, everybody will come out. They are very united, they are very resilient, they are very cooperative, and above all, there is a spirit around the University of Benin that enable the campus, the school, to provide great men and women, and we've seen that manifest in so many ways. So, among so many things, Uniben has, given me the opportunity, to be who I am today, and I'm still tapping from the blessings. Sometimes I just drive into university. Anytime I go to Benin, I just drive in there. I look for one of the restaurants in University of Benin. I sit down, eat there, and I reflect a moment before I take off again. So for me, is a safe haven for those who really want to aspire high. And most time when I have young people who are want to write jam, even from different parts of the country, I do encourage them. What about you? Know University of Benin? Everybody's far. I say go there, go and enroll in University of Benin. But one thing is that don't be an ordinary student to participate in one thing or the other. If you want to do fellowship, do fellowship. If you want to do politics, that place is a training ground for you. If you want to do sports, is a training ground for you. If you want to become a lecturer in the future, Uniben, when you graduate, Uniben is ready to take you and absorb you into the system. So all these things are benefits for many persons who went through University of Benin and those who are still going to go into University of Benin in the nearest future.
Thank you very much, sir. It has been wonderful speaking with you. Thank you. I really appreciate it for creating time to be part of this show. Thank you.
Thank you so
much. And we have
much.
come to the end of the interview. I've been speaking with Samuel Memeh Esquire. He's the National Chairman, Democratic Leadership Alliance, one of the newly registered political parties in Nigeria. Continue to subscribe to our channel, bringing more exclusive interviews of Uniben alumni. Bye.